How's everybody doing? I hope we're doing okay. We're good, right? We're here. We made it, right? Getting ready for another week, another victory. I hope that you're excited to be here. I have been just truly blessed in this series of Above All. How many of us have been blessed through this series? Yes. We have gone through Above All. We've talked about the triumphal entry, welcoming the King. We've talked about the death, but we've also talked about the resurrection of Christ, and we've celebrated that on Easter Sunday. So it's just an honor to close out this sermon series. To get into the next one. And when I was praying and when I was thinking about everything that Above All is, and everything that we've learned through this series about God being above everything, Jesus being above everything, above fear, above worry, above everything, it was all above all because it's love. It's love. And so I want to talk to you a little bit today, and I want to just share with you what God is bringing to us today, because it is love. Now, I had a fun time yesterday. I was able to make it to see the Ryan Garcia fight. If you were here, man, people were screaming and stuff at that fight. If you saw it, I'm sorry if you were going for Ryan, but if you're going for Tank, well, hey, there you go. You got another win. But it was just awesome. I'm a boxing fan, so I like watching that. But we had a good time. And so when we talk about love, I want you to understand something, and I hope that I can change your perspective today. If you have the wrong perspective, or maybe you need to adjust your perspective, I hope that you would allow God to do that today, because the Bible tells you what love is. See, the world has taken love and put it into some like fantasy kind of thing, but that's not it. I'm sorry, but love is very clear. God is love. The Bible clarifies what love is. And so there's a verse that I enjoy because it really tells you what it is. And it's found in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 to 8. And we're going to read that here. It says, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record. That's a good one. Keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith. It's always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. That verse in itself preaches by itself. I could end like right there. Just go study this. And so we know what love is. Now let me just clarify something, because we know that the world's taken the word love and they've put it into this place and feeling and this and that, but we know what love is. We know what it is. God is love, and this is what God is saying about love. Every single thing up there that you see is a choice. Love is a choice. I got to wake up and love my wife. I got to wake up and love my kids. It's a choice we have to make. And I know it's tough. Sometimes you get that call by your kid and they did something in school. You're just like, ay, mijo, again. You got to go over there. But then you got to show love. You got to choose to love. Wife is getting mad at you again, right? I saw a joke that says, ladies, y'all need to stop getting mad at your husbands when they don't do something. Stop reminding them every 6 months. They'll do it. But it's a choice. We got to wake up and we got to understand that. And yes, there's some feelings that come with it, but at the end of the day, sometimes I don't feel that love, and I'm just like, I'm pretty upset with my wife right now. I don't feel the butterflies that I did before. But it's a choice. It's a choice. Now, I want to look at a couple of things, and I wish we could break down every single part of this verse, but there's two parts that God really pointed out and wants to speak to us about today. And the first one is love is patient. Love is patient. Now, although we should live as patient people to one another, to people we don't know, to people we do know, but I think we should have that patience in our lives overall, in every part of our lives, even with ourselves. Now, I know it's hard to do this. Now, let me just share this. Patient means to be able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. That's what good old Google says. And so this is difficult because we live in a world that is very rushed, that is very fast. How many fast drivers do we have in the house? Wow. There we go. All right. Some of y'all are like, better pick up your hand. I'm with you. I got a big old truck, and it's nice because I'm like, get out of my way. But we live in a rushed life. I bet you some of y'all in here are thinking about what you got to do today or this week. You're constantly in that motion, like, what do I got to do? Oh my gosh, I got this meeting. I got to do this for my boss. I got to do this for my company. I got to do this. I got to do that. And you're just on the go. It's a very rushed life. Pastor gives the analogy of the microwave. We just want to put, ready, all right, boom, take it out. That's just the type of life that we live. Everything is very rushed. We got so much going on. So much going on with the kids and with the families and with work and your business and your career and your goals, school. So much to do. And oftentimes you'll feel like there's not enough time. How many of us feel like that? Like, man, could I just have like a couple more hours to sleep? Just a couple more hours, please. Man, I need to get this done. Just give me a couple more minutes and I'll do it. And we're just on this, and it's a struggle for me, being so fast-paced, so rushed, because I personally, and I'm being transparent, I despise slow. I can't stand like slow things. Some of y'all are like, yeah, me too. I go to Home Depot at least like 100 times a week. I try not to, but it's just part of what I do. And I go there, and it's just like I needed this one screw, and I just forgot to get it. So I have to go all the way to Home Depot, and I got to find the screws, and they sell you a pack of like 300, and you just need one, but you can't steal it, right? Because that's against the law. So you got to take the whole box, right? So you're already frustrated because I got one screw. I just need this one screw. Like, okay, fine. I'll spend the $13, okay? And then you walk to the register, and the lady is so nice, and the guy in front of you, and they're just having a conversation about their day. And you're like, I'll just do self-checkout down. Okay, back to this. And they're just, how's your day going? Good. And I'm just, come on, I need to put this thing. I need to go. We're so rushed, and that's the way I am. And then I get in my truck, and I'm driving, and then there's an old lady getting onto the highway, and I'm like, no, let me go around here. And then, boom, she gets in front of me, and she's all laughing in her car, because she knows what she's doing. And I'm so upset, and then I see it's an old lady. I'm like, oh, sorry. But we're so rushed. There's no time. There's so many things to do, right? We have a list of things that we got to accomplish. Sometimes we sleep a little bit too much. We sleep in, we hit the snooze for 5 minutes, we wake up 5 hours later. It's like, what happened? But there's just so much to do. And so, because there's no time, sometimes there's no time to talk to people that we should be talking to. There's no time to pray when we should. There's no time to read the word. Sometimes there's no time to rest. You go to sleep and it's time to get up. And so we feel like there's no time. If there's something that I've realized and that I've come to an agreement with is that It was never God's intention for you to be rushed. It was never his intention for you to be so fast-paced and so on the go. We need to look at, and this is interesting, I never found the verse in the Bible that talked about the life of Jesus and said that he ran and he was rushed and he got on a white horse and boom, he took off. Was he busy? Yep. There was a lot to do. Jesus, if you don't know, he lived 33 years and his ministry was only 3 years. He was busy, but never rushed. Because imagine the difference, right? If he showed up and Mary Magdalene is about to get stoned and he's like, hey, hold up. Did you sin? Did you sin? Okay, no, sir. Okay, see you later. You don't go and don't sin no more. Okay, bye. And Mary's like, what just happened? And then he forget, oh, I got to write something, and gets on, boom, write something, and then it takes off. He was never rushed. He took the time. He kneeled. Wrote something in the ground. We don't know what it is. But he took the time because he knew that love is patient. If there's a demonstration of love, it has to be patient. So, and imagine if he lived his life rushed, doing things here and there and just walking out, okay, you're healed, okay, go. Was he busy? Yes. Yes, I could imagine the crowds that would want to just see him and talk to him. We are called to follow Jesus. So we are also called to be patient like him, not to be rushed. You see, the solution is not more time, because yes, that would be nice, but the solution is not more time. It's more, let me give my time to what matters most. You see, and that's a tough pill to swallow because of the world we live in. We are so distracted. Very distracted. You have time for what you choose to have time for. You have time to choose, and you can choose for what you want to put your effort, your energy, your time into. You have that choice. But we live in a world that is so distracting. This. Social media, TikTok. Everything, we could be on there for hours. Ah, that's a good one. Oh, man. Netflix comes out with this 20-episode series. I got to watch them all right now. You spend your whole day and night. You're so distracted. You have time to choose. You have time for what you choose to have time for. You could choose to put that time in the right place. If your marriage matters, then you should choose to put the time into it. If the relationship with God matters, then you should choose to put the time into it. If your kids matter, you should choose to put the time into your kids. But I get it, so many distractions. I believe, and this is a sincere belief, that God will allow things to happen. And sometimes we'll blame the enemy, but the enemy has nothing to do with it. But God will allow things to happen because he's trying to slow you down. He's trying to say, hey, this part of your life needs attention. And the reason why I believe this is because it happened to me. There was a moment about 2 years ago. I was so rushed in everything that I did, and God hit me with the sickness like never before. I was like, whoa. But it wasn't, hey, I'm going to allow this sickness to touch you because, you're not. It was, hey, you need to slow down. And this is the only way that it's going to happen. This is the only way I'm going to get your attention. And God was speaking to me in that point. How many of us have ever been sick and you are just hearing the voice of God? You are just hearing the voice of God. God is telling you, hey, he's showing you things about your life. He did that because he needed to slow you down because you were so rushed and distracted. I don't know where you're at today. I don't know what area in your life needs attention, needs the time. But we do know that love is patient. We should be patient with ourselves, with others, with everything around us. We should never be rushed. Don't be too busy for what matters in your life. Don't be too busy for what you need to work on. Don't allow the distractions to step in. If you got to turn off or you got to cancel that subscription, then do it. If you got to deactivate the Facebook, then do it. If you got to get off TikTok, then do it. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know where time needs to be placed. But I do know that there's another part to what we read that is utterly important, which is love never gives up. I don't know why God chose these two things. Love is patient, love never gives up. I don't know why he chose them. But this part in my life has been tough. There's been times where I want to say, hey, I can't. Throw in the towel. I can't. No more. I can't do it no more. Maybe for you it's a prayer that you've been praying. Maybe you've been praying for a loved one. Maybe you've been praying for your marriage. Maybe you've been praying for your kids. Maybe you've just been praying for yourself. But you want to give up because you don't see the progress. Because you don't see that there's change happening. No matter how much you've prayed, you can't see the change. You can't see the progress. Maybe it's just life in general that you want to give up on. You're saying, you know what, I just can't do it anymore. There's nothing for me here. Nothing changes. The reason why we want to give up is because our perspective is limited. Our progress isn't always obvious. Sometimes you'll only see the wall. You'll only see the problems. Just like when Jericho, and he took the walls of Jericho, the story of Joshua, and they walked around day after day. And yes, Joshua knew the promise, but everyone else was wondering what's going on because all we see is the walls. Our progress isn't always that noticeable. It would be nice. It would be nice to see some change, like if I went to the gym, right, and I did one good workout for like an hour, maybe 30 minutes, I don't know, and then I went to the scale and boom, dropped 20. Oh snap! You think I'd go home? Right back to the gym. Let's do it. Let's drop another 20. I'm working out there, boom, boom, and all of a sudden I see a new cut in my arm. Wow. Right, Jason? Just like that. Woo, let's go. I do a couple sit-ups and boom, one of the 6 pops out. Pop. It would be nice. Because let me tell you this, you're willing to go through the pain if you could see the progress. You're willing to go through the heartache if you can see, oh, this hurt, but I got this. Oh, this hurt, but I got this. But love never gives up because sometimes you're not going to see the progress. You're not going to see the change. All you're going to see is the problems, the walls, the obstacles, the attacks. You're not going to see it. But love never gives up. We have to persevere through everything that is going on in our lives. Please ignore your feelings sometimes. Maybe all the time. I kid you not. I am very transparent with every single one of you. There have been times where I have left church and I didn't want to come back because I was so upset about something. Or I left the house because I just got into a fight with my wife and I was so upset and I didn't want to come back. Those were feelings. Ignore those. I get it. We get upset. But persevere. Persevere, because it's no accident why you're in the place that you're in. It's no accident. I don't see nothing wrong with taking time away. That's fine. You need to get yourself into a space where you're by yourself and you need to talk to God and you need to share some things with him. You need to let those feelings out to God, not to the neighbor, not to the gossiper, not to the other person who wants to see you divorced, not to the person who wants to see you fall. To the one who knows you're capable of. Let me go into that place. Tell him how you feel. Shed those tears for him. Have to ignore our feelings sometimes. And if you're like me, it's most of the time. I know it's difficult because we don't see the progress. But let me tell you this, in my life and in a lot of people's lives, most of the time we don't see the progress because God has to do something inside of you before he does something for you. It's something about you that needs to change. It's something about you that needs to have a perspective that is different than what you have. There's a change of mind that needs to happen first before God can answer your prayer. Something that has to happen. There's been time in my life, and I don't. This is just where God is going with this. There's been times in my life where I would pray for someone, but God has to deal with me first because there's some unforgiveness. And God can't bring that person to me unless I forgive. That's just the truth. And I've been there before. God is saying, hey, there's something that has to change first within you before I could answer your prayer. Before I could do this for you, there's something that has to change about you first. We have to persevere. We have to persevere. Don't give up. I don't know where you're at in life. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't. But God does. And there's no coincidence that God says, hey, love does not give up. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. You might be closer than what you think. Don't give up because you're probably right there where God needs you to be. Probably right there, and you're at the moment, and I know it's tough, and I know you're ready to give up, but God is saying you're right there. Don't give up. I want to read a verse that is found in Galatians 6:9, and if we could put that verse up. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. If we do not give up. Love is patient. Love doesn't give up. We've talked a lot about the life of Jesus, and we always do, and we always will. Jesus walked. I heard a pastor once talk about even that his choice of entry was slow. You don't ever see donkeys run a race, right? Jesus walked. And as Jesus walked along through his ministry, his life, where was he walking? What was he headed towards? Day after day, he was walking towards the cross. And everything that he did, it was just a step closer to the cross. Day in and day out, a step closer to the cross. Never rushed, but he knew where he was going. Because above all, it was love. And even Jesus, he said, he got to the point, and he said, will you take this cup from me, Father? But then he says, you know what? I'm going to persevere. God, let your will be done and not mine. God, let your will be done and not mine. He knew what he was about to endure. He didn't give up. Yes, we should embrace the truth in Christ, but we should also want to become more like Christ. Walk as he walked. Walk like him, walking in love and perseverance. Many of you know that I was married at a very young age, 18, 19, 18. I'm going to get in trouble for that one. Just kidding. I was married at a very young age. And I didn't persevere. I gave up. I gave up. I threw in the towel and I said, I'm done. And we split. Thankfully, God was dealing with me through that time, and I made the choice to come back to the cross. And through that, God restored my marriage. And the crazy part is that there's still the same problems. Still the same trials, tribulations, valleys, storms, hurricanes, whatever you want to call it. It's still there. But I'm going to choose the love of God, because that love tells me, don't give up. His love is to never give up. The proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Let God work in the impossible, because many of us here today, all of us here today are equipped to go through the battles that we're faced. We are all equipped. Let God handle the impossible. I shared this example with my brother Christian. God works in the impossible. He's giving you many things that you can do by yourself. When Jesus was called to the tomb of Lazarus, Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. I can't even imagine what his body was like at that time. But Jesus does something. Tells them, remove the stone, and he speaks in the impossible. He says, Lazarus, with one word, come forth. Come forth. And just like that, Lazarus is up and walking and alive. Could Jesus have said, stone move? Yep. Would the stone have moved? Yep. But there are certain things that we can do, and we have to begin to trust God in the impossible. When I came back to my marriage, I did not know what I was going to do to restore all the damage I had done. But I had to leave that up to God. And I had to do what I could do. I had to do what God had already given me the strength and the ability to do. Why don't you stand to your feet today?